Hello, and welcome to Talking Simulator. I am very EP. He slash him. How are you doing out there? The gamer is EP. I think I've also been getting indigestion from all of the bad news I've been eating. Yeah, late night splashing bandits. And I perpetually have something on my glasses. Basically, it's a long litany of complaints. But you know, I'm ignoring them. How was Marathon? I am really enjoying Marathon. Although I understand that if you say that, people will yell at you. I realize I'm supposed to. Uh, I. It seems like a very good game with excellent deathmatch. It's a really good deathmatch, and sometimes you get to survive it and take your guns into the next deathmatch. It's a roguelite deathmatch arena. That clarifies the entire game for you. It's fun. It feels good to click on the other players. Also, all the storytelling is diegetic. It all occurs in game. I think that's pretty cool and innovative. And it will be on an upcoming talking simulator. Although I would like to try to get some veterans of the genre of extraction shooters on with me to talk about it. I believe the battle pass is still a lootable item. I think you can take it in with you. I have been getting my ass stomped in it though. I'm so bad at Marathon. I was honestly never that good at first person shooters. I think at best I am serviceable at them. But maybe I just need a bigger monitor and a faster video card. I think if I had like a 40-inch monitor, I would finally be able to see the other players. But now I am a little old man, and I game thusly. Which is suboptimal. I was watching Shroud play, and he didn't do that. He was not. Maybe I'm just doing it wrong. But the big streamers seem to like the game. In fact, people who play the game seem to like it. So you know, I think it has really cool storytelling and environments, and the like. It feels responsive and snappy. It's possible that I game like that because I have something on my glasses all the time. I cleaned you. How do you have fingerprints already? Anyway, this week we are playing Cold Calling, which is a game about being the switchboard operator in the White House during the Cold War. I'm sure this is going to... The vibe I get off of this is Papers, Please. I think that's the initial vibe I get off of this game, is something like Papers, Please. But you are only getting the metadata elements of the storytelling. I think, which these are my initial impressions of the game. So why don't we start playing? That is a tired-looking eagle. I get it. I get it, homie. Does anyone here watch or listen to Behind the Bastards? I was watching the episodes they did a couple of months ago about the United States Strategic Air Command, and by extension, the entire American nuclear arsenal and policy around it. You know, it's alarming. I'm surprised we don't have Courier. Wow, a pair of 90-somethings walked out of Wag the Dog. But, I mean, that movie is 30 years old now. Yeah, Courier would be thematic. I guess it's a bad font. It's a mono-spaced font. But it wasn't 14-point Courier the United States State Department? You call your foreign ministry the State Department. It was the State Department's like font for decades. Yeah, because it looked like old typewriters. I assumed like it was for uniformity with old forms. Uniformity with forms. That's really good, Cameron. Good job. We are so sleepy today. We're gonna do our job great. Good thing there's nothing on the line. Now, we're going to go in hardcore mode. It is a work of alternate history satire. Many of the historical figures depicted were problematic in various ways and left behind legacies that range from complex to reprehensible. For the sake of the story and jokes we want to tell, depictions of these people may exaggerate or deviate from their real character. I would like a party platter. Potty platter. I can't do the Kennedy.
Crisis in Cuba.
It shall be the policy of this nation
to regard any nuclear missile launched from Cuba against any nation in the Western Hemisphere as an attack by the Soviet Union on the...
I mean, it's not like listening to the news would do anything for you in the event of global thermonuclear war. You might have... I imagine, like, you would have maybe a nanosecond to think, wow, it's awfully bright, before you were just turned into, like, windblown ashes, right? Or vaporized, really. It's like it's like how the Billionaire Submarine had an alarm for if the hull began to fail. Right? So you could have 1 nanosecond of being more scared than you thought you could ever be. Before being, like, you know, instantaneously turned into a red mist that dissolves into the water. I mean, with a thermonuclear, like with a hydrogen bomb, like, isn't the vaporization area several kilometers across? And then, like, there's another radius around it where you are, like, pulverized by flying debris. Never thought myself lucky to have hardened semen. We need to have 2. Ah, you want a longer wire. Ooh, urns. Okay, brain, we can do this. Nope. Nying, nying. Yeah, that's about right. It's LBJ, huh? I'm on board. I mean, it's the Cuban Missile Crisis. That was Kennedy, right? Yeah, the studio has like the cartridge with a bite out of it. Perfect. Yeah. Can I have a smoke? No? Can we get the 411 on what's jiggy? Benjamin Franklin, the inventor of, among other things, the French MILF. Ooh. Log. Well, this is a little anachronistic. 789-9537. I am so EP chat. They literally just told me what to do. And I am incapable of it. Oh, 789-9537. Wait, no. Brain 7899537. Okay. I read a book where someone was describing the rotary dial telephone, and they said that you could tell how much of a loser area code you grew up in by adding up all the digits in your area code, counting a 0 as 10. And the higher the number, the more of a backwater you lived in the 1960s. Right? Or the more of a backwater your area was in the 1960s. Because, like, New York, area code 212, very fast to dial on a rotary telephone. Where I grew up, Northern British Columbia, 604, totals 20. Out in the sticks. Out in the sticks. Right? You would break a fingernail dialing a number out there. I mean, speaking of mistaking 1980s computer technology for that of earlier decades, right? This would have all been punch cards, but more likely it just would have been like hardwired, right? Like a computer would have been punch cards with maybe a magnetic tape drive. But I remember seeing a photo in a Goodwill store of a BlackBerry for sale with the note 1980s cell phone. Right? Yeah, a computer was a job. A computer is not an appliance in the way we would understand. We're only a couple of decades out from a computer being a person, kind of like an accountant, one who computes things. War sensors fight out emitting diode. Okay. We'll put that nice and central. Yeah, very good representation. If I could dispense any 5 liquids from one from each finger, what liquids on which finger would I pick? Soda water from the pinky would be useful, you know? Super glue, maybe? Although, no, wait, I gnaw on this finger too much. This finger emits blood sometimes, you know, so we'll keep that one going. A celebratory or appreciative thumbs up should give champagne. Middle finger would be Malort. And this finger, this one would have to be like super glue. Right? Because that way you could like hold something and then apply it. WD-40. I mean, I've heard Malort described as like tasting kind of like a Band-Aid. I mean, you would have to be careful, like, emitting WD-40, because what if the Americans thought it was some kind of, like, petroleum-based product and detained you? Yeah, you get drone struck. I mean, I think it would be like that Kids in the Hall sketch where the one guy's sweat smells amazing and he winds up just like having to be remanded to the custody of the government in an underground laboratory where they keep him on a treadmill. Actually, hold on. Little Nicky. Yeah, the reason I brought up Behind the Bastards earlier was they did a really interesting 6-part series on Strategic Air Command, and a large part of that was like the conflict between the American civilian government and the American military on who got to control the nukes, which Kennedy finally won, really. Like, and because well, Curtis LeMay had not wanted the president to be involved in any way. And it was just like, this is hearing about this, like, if you think it's scary now, like the nuclear football and all of that was an innovation. That was better than what it was, which was, you took your most coked up Air Force general and just had him like staring at the button. Yeah, this is fine. Oh, look how good I am at this game. Ooh. Well, I mean, we're already here. Bulgy? Also, the is anyone here a fan of Well, There's Your Problem? And did you see the episode on the Nedelin disaster? It just, reminded me of this. Nedelin was the name of the Soviet Marshal of Artillery, who was in charge of their missile forces in the 1950s until the Netherlands. Get this, what a coincidence. Nederland died in the Nederland disaster. And you know it's always going to be good when you see someone's place of death listed as Baikonur Cosmodrome. Like when you look at a guy's biography and you see like cause of death, and it's like the guy's name, disaster. You know it's going to be good, right? Yeah, all the only evidence they found of where he died was a puddle with the same like makeup as the medals he was wearing. So there's your problem. I enjoy listening to it. I'm not convinced it's necessarily authoritative. But I think it gives like a good, like, you know, if you're in a mood to browse Wikipedia, and there's your problem episode, it's probably going to be about as informative and factual, right? And I think it also depends heavily on how well you gel with the personality of the hosts. I find it extremely funny. Melvin? Ooh. Hauling ass, getting paid. Baby Bulgy. Ooh, we got a bonus. Look at us go. We earned all of these, though. A butt. But my decorations, where did they go? Or did I simply earn the opportunity to buy them? you. Alarming. Melvin? We licked Dick. Stabilizer circuit. Wait, Nixon was a Quaker? Huh. I never would have figured. I thought he was a little hammered all the time to be a Quaker. Oh no, wait. Yeah, no, okay, that's a stabilizer. We're stable. We're stable. We're hip. We're happening. Nope, that's distorted. I cannot think of Nikita Khrushchev as not looking like Steve Buscemi. Buscemi? 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 Buscemi. Buscemi, yeah. Okay. Uh... Uh-oh. 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 No, we fucked up. We fucked up. I've ruined everything. Is that the infamous I like dick call or button? All right, I am going to take a quick break. And then we'll come back and play more of this. So far, I'm enjoying it as a conversation starter. I will see you shortly. Hello, chat. I am back. Wait, let me adjust my microphone. There we are. Better? How are we doing so far? Are we enjoying the game? I'm enjoying the gameplay. Well, let's keep going. I mean, isn't Ron Glass's character dead? Like, not to put too fine a point on it. Like, the actor's dead too, but, like, isn't he? Adam Baldwin, big problem. Joss Whedon, also not great, not happy with. Firefly was a fun little era in time. I think many people look back at it fondly and are like, man, the Confederates in space. And, you know, the dialogue is very, you know, well, that just happened. And, you know, you look at the discussed things that they were going to do in a second season and are like, yeah, that's kind of gross. You know, it was a fun little time in our lives, and now it's over, and that's okay. But, you know, my guess, if there is an announcement, Firefly TNG. That would be my guess, is what we would see. Firefly TNG. Uh-oh. 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 No! No! I have fucked up. I have fucked up. Now we're all going to die. We're all going to die now. We're all going to die. Everyone's dead now. That was weird. Let's go with Kennedy. Oh wait, we need to get rid of the distortion. Yeah. I mean, you want to imagine the timeline where Kennedy was a bed and breakfast owner? I want to imagine the timeline where Trump was RuPaul. He'd have been good at being like an impresario drag queen, I feel. No disrespect on that profession at all. I think he'd have been a lot happier as a theater guy. We'd have all been a lot happier. Jesus. Okay, hold on. Oh, this is bad. How many distortions? Two. No, two. No, two. No, two. Two distortions. Two distortions. Oh my god. 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 Okay. Yeah, it'd have been the center of attention, and he would have handled hecklers really well, I think. No, death. 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 We have only achieved death. I don't know. I kind of love impossibly credulous American executives. Well, we kind of pooched that one. Oh yeah, JFK would have been Jack. Or he was Jack. Jack Kennedy, yeah, not Johnny. That is an odd omission. Interesting. Or an odd ahistoricism? An odd error. Yeah, Jack and Bobby. Why don't we try that one again? Yeah, it was... Yeah, the favorite brother. Was Johnny? Wasn't he in the 8th Air Force in World War II? Where he became exploded? Oh, we can just put this one directly through. Better. Looks like we've got 2 distortions. Oh yeah, it'll tell you right there. Two distortions again. 2 distortions over there. Nope, must get it in. Please hold for a call from the Secretary of State. Not the Foreign Minister, the Secretary of State. Okay. Once again, 2 distortions. This is the red one. What? No. Ruh-roh, Raggy. 2 distortions. 2 distortions. I like how happy Chairman Mao and Fidel Castro look to be having, like, phone conversations. They're just happy to be invited. Okay, that was better. That was better. That was somewhat better. Apparently one of the streamers is going to do a decade-spanning US version of The Crown centered on the Kennedys. Ugh. During COVID, a friend and I got through half an episode of The Crown. And it was just like, the British aren't this important. Can't... Like, it was so clearly, like... This is what Americans think royalty, like, how they feel about royalty. Goodbye, White House. How exciting. They moved the missiles. Your Uber driver in Atlanta demanded you... That's an awfully loaded question for someone driving a car to ask. I would not know how to answer that question. Sonata, that's... Ugh. I would, Gadzooks. Oh no, it's dark. Oh God. No, no, I've failed. I'm trying to... Why did it not go through? I'm trying to turn the crank. I'm trying to... But it's in front of the button. It's in front of the button. I don't like this. Game, how do you expect me to handle this? Great googly moogly. Ruh-roh. It's kind of stressful. I'm a little sleepy for this. No! But I was good. It's extremely stressful. I'm not sure I love it. It's got a bit too much of the puzzle box thing going on, you know what I mean? Or it's like one of those toys that toddlers get. You know? I don't know that I'm going to be any good at this right now. I am honestly kind of stressed out by it. Can I just see the fail screen? Can I move the clipboard? I remember hearing that kind of thing about LBJ, that he would, he liked to assert dominance in really, like, petty ways. Oh, yeah. And LBJ's enormous nutsack, or implied enormous nutsack, or his claim to have one. His desire to be known as a man with enormous balls. It's like how the photo that was going around yesterday of all of the various heads of the American ministries, departments, the secretaries of blank, wearing the shoes Trump bought them that are way too big for each of their feet. The cabinet. The clown, yeah, they're all wearing clown shoes. What are Florsheims? Is that like, it's a brand of dress shoe, I'm assuming. But they don't look terribly nice. It's a brand? It's just a brand of shoes? Like, that's... like, it's gotta be... That's the kind of thing that Grandpa does when he's real sundowning, right? He just looks at you and is like, do you have nice shoes? I think you should all have nice shoes. You're a size 14? Or maybe Trump is just like extremely angry that he doesn't like anyone's shoes, and this is his way of asserting dominance. Yeah, they just kind of look like fine department store shoes. Anyway, none of these people have a spine. If you can't tell your boss what size your feet are, I don't think you're going to really particularly going to stand up for anything else. I wear Fluvogs and memory. I don't think Trump would like Fluvogs. Or maybe he would. Maybe he just wouldn't admit to it. When I first, heard of Fluvogs, but he couldn't remember the name. Knew it started with a FL vowel. The Florsheims? Sure. Well, it could be worse. If he had ordered his cabinet Fluvogs, I would no longer be able to wear them. Then again, you couldn't get Fluvogs for $100. At least not for the last 20 years. This really reminds me of like those games for babies and toddlers where there's like a mirror and a phone dial and, you know, like a spinny thing and another spinny thing and then a car horn. I think this is too stressful for me. There's too much going on, really. But like, I do like all the little like devices. I'm sure that you can like, you know, you use the little flags to speed up and slow down calls. Um, you know, you route them into holding patterns and you create like stable loops, probably. Um, yeah, it like I'm sure that there are people for whom this kind of game is extremely like satisfying, and I can see it. It just causes me a lot of stress. And I love the concept of it, right? Like, I mean, we're gamifying the Cold War. And not in the usual way of like, you know, playing a Euro game with 4 million different like victory point tracks. Like, we're not playing Twilight Struggle here, right? Which also I could never get into. I remember looking at Twilight Struggle and thinking, man, there's an alternate universe version of Cameron who is really good at Twilight Struggle, or would be if anyone played Twilight Struggle. But this is an interesting way of doing this, right? Because like there probably were like there's a White House switchboard, right? Somebody had to be down in the basement of the White House with a plug board, like putting through calls from, you know, Secretary of State Bobby Kennedy through to like, you know, the Chancellor of East Germany. God, what's his name? He was Chancellor of East Germany for like 40 years. Or 30 years, I guess. I I think I would probably freak out playing Twilight Struggle. I would just be like, everything on Space Race. I did not know this about the Pentagon. I forget where I even read it. It might have just been like an aside someone made while talking about something else, but the Pentagon is the shape it is so that you can walk across, like, you can get to any. Erich Honecker was Chancellor of East Germany, yeah. Um, but like, apparently it's the shape it is so that you can walk anywhere in it inside of like 5 minutes or 10 minutes or something. Like, it's supposed to be, you know, geographically compact. I think it should have been a hexagon so you could tessellate multiples, right? You know, then you could have a hex board of hexagons. Pentagon doesn't cleanly tessellate unless you're on a small area of a sphere. But yeah, as a way of connecting the personalities together, because I feel like the Cold War could be understood as like a clash of not only systems but of personalities. right? And clearly these ones are heavily caricaturized, somewhat ahistorical. But it's interesting to think of history operating in this mode. Has anyone ever considered history as like just these great men interacting? Is that a thing that anyone's ever done? Impossible to know. Doesn't ring a bell? Yeah, no. No, maybe someone could write a book. I was told history ended. It did, and then it came back. Actually, like the end of history, I feel, was like, in the mid 90s, looking at history and going like, well, it's going to be like Clintonism in space forever, right? Like Western liberal capitalist democracy has won out over over red communism, and therefore that's what's going to be that's just going to be how humanity is forever, right? I feel like even within that Western liberal democracy, you had guys like a large chunk of the population who were like, the world is going to end in the year 2000. I need to be sitting on a propane tank full of baked beans right now in my bunker. I need all the fertilizer, right? Like the end of history was kind of like an elite theory, right? Whereas you also had a huge chunk of people who were like, yeah, history's gonna end, right? Like you had a millenarian thing going on, like at a complete, like, a feverish boil right under the placid end of history. Yeah, buy your Y2K bat today. Yeah, Y2K and the ozone layer are things that people are like, well, whatever happened to that? That didn't turn out to be anything. And it's like, because human labor and ingenuity solved the problem. It's like those were problems we solved. We actually like worked on them back when we thought we could solve problems and make things better, and we actually did it and fixed it. We can do that with any number of problems. We could fix our problems. We could just do it. We can just fix our problems. All you have to do is like commit to it. We could just stop climate change. We could just commit to fixing that one. But now we have people who seem like extremely invested in making sure that the problems persist so they can market workarounds for them. If we fix the problems, what's going to happen to shareholder value? Oh, Morty. Shadowrun is the good future. Man, I'm starting to think Mad Max might be the good future. You know, like jetpacks, flying cars, that was never going to happen. Right now, I'd settle for the road. Yeah, at least in the road, you can take your shopping cart out of the mall. They found that bunker. It was nice. You should read The Road. It'll take you 2 or 3 hours because you won't be able to put it down. Oh yeah, the movie of The Road is it's fine. It's fine. You don't read The Road really for the plot. You read it for the words. My god. I just want to read The Road right now. I want to read Cormac. I should stop by the bookstore and pick up Cities of the Plain, The Crossing, and all the pretty horses. That would be a hell of a night. Yeah, goblinization. And what was the one where dwarves and elves emerged? It had like a syndrome name, like sudden something emergence in Shadowrun. And I liked how people in universe were like, "This is kind of racist. Why do elves and dwarves? Why are they a syndrome, and everyone else is a goblin?" Unexplained genetic expression. Yeah, UGE. Um, my partner and I were discussing what Tolkien-esque creatures everyone would be. She is some kind of hobbit, and she decided that I am a wizard, which I'm like, well, clearly, I I am a servitor of Manwi. Oh yeah, sudden unexplained genetic expression, where like people got bunny ears. I remember people being really mad about Year of the Comet. I remember like Shadowrun gamers being like, they put to furries in my game. And then you look at the art for that book, and it's just people being like, I have bunny ears. This kind of rules. The wizards in Lord of the... Yeah, they're extremely bad at things. The two blue wizards that go off into the east and are never heard from again, you know, like they're people say that there's the implication that that's why there weren't more like Southrons and Easterlings in Sauron's army. Like maybe those guys had some effect that we didn't perceive in the main book, or maybe they just got like eaten by a bear. I think I watched a quarter of an episode of Tech War. I don't I don't know. Yeah, they just kind of pieced out right? Same thing with Radagast. I guess people argue that Radagast was the reason that they were sent eagles. Although I love people asking, like, why didn't they just take the eagles to begin with? And the eagles are like, because I got shit to do, man. It doesn't affect me. Sounds like not my problem. I'm an eagle. I can just fly away. Yeah, I mean, like, it, yeah, I guess the Nazgul on their Hellhawks would have given the eagles some problems. How did we get over here? We were talking about Shadowrun. Shadowrun being the good future. Right. I've been reading Bleak House by Charles Dickens. Um, and whenever you mention reading Charles Dickens, some people feel compelled to bring up the fact that, like, well, he was paid by the word, you know. Dickens was paid by the word. That's why his books are that thick. He was getting paid by the word. All those words he was getting paid for. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm reading it for the words too. What a weird coincidence. All the words are good. In fact, like, he should have been paid by the word. These, like, have you read this? Like, that's, I don't know if this is a known thing to most people, but I read most books for the words. I like the words. That's why I'm reading it. Yeah, he was getting paid by the word because he was good at using words. That's what happens. I mean, not necessarily. I mean, Dumas was famously paid by the line. Like, there are perverse incentives. Sure, Dickens was incentivized to use words. So, like, being as wordy as you can while maintaining, like, coherence is a constraint, right? That's kind of an interesting constraint. Like, use as many words as you physically can. Um, Dumas being paid by the line, so his text is kind of quippy. It doesn't make it bad. We're all getting paid by the something. Well, many of us. I'm getting paid for being here with you. Speaking of which, patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. Why don't we take another break? Speaking of getting paid, and I'll run our contractually obligated ads because they're going to get run anyway. And I'll see you back here in 3 to 4 minutes. All right. See you soon. Hey, chat. I'm back. How are you doing? I see we're discussing cooking. I have recently started to make my own salsa. It's shockingly easy to just make, like, I don't know, I guess it's salsa fresca. You cut 4 plum tomatoes in half and the number of chilies you want and some onion and garlic, and you broil them. Or you roast them first, then broil them, and then blend Then add in some cilantro. Lovely. You just want to eat spoonfuls of it. I did a mountain of meal prep yesterday where I made, I don't know, 16 burritos. I found vegan pinto beans that I really liked, some red rice. The only thing I can't get here, or I wasn't able to find easily, was cotija. But apparently feta is like a mild feta, a goat cheese, is not a terrible substitute. I just hate like the American kind of like bag of shredded jalapeno jack. Pinto beans are usually made with lard. I'm not vegan, I'm ovo-lacto vegetarian. So I have eggs and dairy, even though I'm like allergic to dairy, but not allergic enough to not eat cheese. But usually pinto beans are made with a lot of lard. Some prices are worth paying, you know? I also enjoy honey. I always thought it was interesting that like bees can just leave if they're not happy. If you don't take good care of your bees, they're just like, "Oh, well, we're out." But most of the time, most bees, at least from what I've read, will be like having a giant ape on call who sure steals our food, but does give us more food, is okay because it will fight a bear for you. Like this whole business where this giant ape steals our food sometimes, but fights a bear on our behalf. You know, it's a living. It's a living. Yeah, hard to get. Yeah, hard. Egg substitutes tricky. Um, I don't know where to go with that Art Deco sunburn. I've heard people using the water in a can of chickpeas to make like meringue. Yeah, a chickpea juice, exactly. Art Deco sunburn. Yeah, I suppose it could be interpreted as a kind of feudalism. Horton fears a coup. Aquafaba, yeah. That's what yeah, okay, yeah. I'm putting it all together now. I'm extremely sleepy, Chad. Has anyone else been playing Marathon? The game is so fun. What if... What? No, I shouldn't. Unless... It's probably kind of rude. No, I mean, we can do whatever we want. I like this game a lot. I think it's a really interesting concept as a way of having a video game set during a crisis in the Cold War, set during the Cuban Missile Crisis, where you are trying to keep like these lines of communication open, and the consequences for failure are extremely high, and you are like a fail point in what is already a chain of causality rife with fail points, because everyone is also a complete idiot. Do you want to watch me tank at Marathon? This is so embarrassing. Okay, we're gonna do one run. One run. One run. We will be coming back to Marathon later in the month. Change account on Steam. How's Matt doing at Marathon? I'm really bad at the game. Like, I'm exceptionally bad at the game. I don't know if you ever saw me play Destiny, but it's been a few years and I'm worse at this now. It's either you can watch me play Marathon for just a little bit, or I can read The Road to you and have our channel taken down for copyright infringement. Matt's better at Marathon than he is at PUBG. It's because he hasn't run into me in Marathon yet. I think accidentally sniping Matt whenever we play PUBG is just one of the things that makes me laugh. Just seeing someone in PUBG and being like, oh, look, it's one person. Kablam! And hearing Matt go, God damn it. It salves me. I'm not trying to kill him. Which is an odd thing to say when you've shot someone in the head. Let's just do it. It's Sakaguchi Day. What are we actually trying to do for this contract? Download shipping manifests from the terminal in Northwest Processing. Scan containers in airfield. Then get into flight control. Sure, we can do all that. We'll use the Vandal shell. What can possibly go wrong? The style of this game is absolutely invincible. I've never played anything that looks like this before. This is... like, it fits so smoothly into a cyberpunk aesthetic while looking very different from other cyberpunk things. Right, like the hyper branded corporate or the hyper real, I guess, branding of all the corporations is really interesting and engaging. We're made by moths. what is the setup for this? You are investigating the ruins of Tau Ceti 4 colony, centuries after the events of Marathon. Where are we going here? Somebody probably spawned here. The problem is, we are going to have to run to get all this done in one run, because you only have 25 minutes in Marathon. So there's a decent chance we'll have someone at our back. Can we get up there? Well, pure skill. I don't think there's any correlate. I don't think the word, other than there being a run that you are doing, like each distinct play session is called a run. You are referred to as runners. But I think that may be a term that is borrowed at least as much from Shadowrun as it is from the name Marathon. All right, everyone, keep your eyes open for a shipping manifest in Northwest Processing. Do we have any better idea than that? Second floor of the northwestern side of processing. The terraforming has gone a bit wonky. There's a way out. When we are able to talk about this game on Talking Sim, like when I do a full stream on this game, we are going to spend so much of it, talking about the sound design. Ruh-roh. I have fucked up.
Signal recall.
Please stop shooting me. That's how you know there are no other runners nearby. Would you believe I've still not seen Zone of Interest? I need to. I've seen little bits of Zone of Interest. Like when he sees the vision of the future. Who are the bad guys? The bad guys, the robots we were fighting. We are the bad guys. The robots we are fighting are the UESC security robots. The colony seems abandoned, but its security force, this automated security force, is still extremely present and active. Meanwhile, we are working for corporations that are exercising their legal salvage right on the colony. Basically, there are 6 factions that you can work for. 4 of them are mega corporations that, in one way or another, sponsored the colony. And their missions are all things like basically wandering around and going, where the fuck is our money? Then there is MIDA, who is like an anarchist, anti-UESC terrorist organization, and Arachne, a religious death cult that wants you to kill other runners. Whereas the UESC is the United Earth Space Command, who are the super governmental organization that runs Earth and Mars, that actually, like, operated the colony. Anyway, you die extremely quickly, especially if you're incautious like I was. And otherwise, you just run around having a lot of fun in-game. The stakes are whatever you make them. Don't like being shot at. Who's opening those doors? This is a very good way of getting yourself killed, by the way, chat. Making noise is the premier way of getting murdered. door's not supposed to be open. Somebody came through here. There's someone in this building with us. Please let me not be here right now. Where did they come from? Unclear. They weren't there. Okay, one more. This time we're gonna last for longer than 2 minutes. I don't usually play with this shell, which is what they call the character class in this. I usually play Thief, or Recon, or Assassin. Assassin is nice in solos because their stealth ability allows you to break aggro from the AI, even though their stealth is not really very good against other players. Yeah, the double jump is extremely handy. You saw me use it to, like, kind of break sequence a bit earlier. But when you get a run rolling, this game feels great. Like when I don't just kind of like wander into a firing gallery, shooting gallery. This is how tired I am. I don't remember what words are. It feels so good when you get rolling. Yeah, these moths are registered employees of Sekaguchi. These moths have more employee benefits than we do. I want a plushy moth. Sekaguchi. Ooh. Thingy. Yep. Anyone mind if I just stand out in the open here? Don't need that. Watch out for the lightning strike. Somebody just opened up with an LMG. Oh yeah, the mantling feels great. The mobility in this game is just tremendous. Okay, let's get out of here. Sorry, sister. I think the smoke is much more useful to us. We only have 7 rounds left, huh? Risking a little noise there.
Signal recall window closes in 20 minutes.
Shouldn't have hidden there. Or if I did, I should have watched the angle where someone could see me. You know, that's what this game is, right? You sit there and you're like, I made such a clear mistake. Like that was a straight up error on my part. And such an obvious one too in retrospect, right? There's never, well, I mean, like there's frequently times where you're like, you get the drop on someone, you pull the trigger and you see a flash of like gold, right? As their like super shield just absorbs an entire mag. And you're like, oh, well, I made a mistake here. Right. Like I think the thing that really separates the wheat from the chaff in PvP combat is like, you know, there's a very high skill ceiling, but a shield, a good quality shield, sure makes up for a lot of it. Right? It's also possible that I don't have push to talk enabled. And that I've just been like, people on this map have been like, what the hell is this guy talking about? Does this guy ever shut up? Alas. Yeah, basically, like, most of the early game missions are you going into the colony and grabbing the nearest UESC robot you can find and screaming, "Where's our fucking money?" Most of the corporations here are wondering what happened to their money. Sometimes they're people, if it's an executive, but most of the time they're like, "Where's our fucking money?" Lebowski. It's great. It's great. It's great. Anyway, that was my little interlude into Marathon. But generally speaking, Cold Calling, wow, fun game. Although definitely wrong button, definitely a little stressful for me, which is weird considering I rolled from that into an extraction shooter, which most people consider sweaty and stressful. But I was just doing it with free kits, so there's absolutely no stakes. None whatsoever. If you jump someone with a free kit, if you get them early enough in their run, there is a chance you will come out ammo neutral. How often do I operate a switchboard? Never. This is my first time really encountering a switchboard outside of a second-year physics course I took on breadboard electronics, like making laboratory electronics. You know, sometimes you just gotta wire your own device for an experiment. So I took a little course where it's like, this is how you wire up a detector. Or this is how you make a detector if you want to run this kind of experiment. And I was like, I like this. and then you put the wires in the breadboard, and then the thing turns blue. But it's good to be reminded that all of the things that we think of as black boxes, the informational infrastructure of the 21st century, has a physical interpretation and needs to exist somewhere. Like the cloud is a place, but also like, all the microcircuitry are fundamentally kind of like wires connecting points. Like how on farms, like in farming communities, until relatively recently, the telephones were run along barbed wire fences, right? Because your neighbor's fence would connect to yours, and the voltage across the phone is pretty low, right? So you could network a community together using the wiring on their fences. That might be apocryphal, but I remember reading that somewhere. Okay, good. There's some corroboration. Thank you, the Maricat. Yeah, and like as I was saying with Marathon, um, unless someone is extremely well geared, you can still wreck their day. Like that one person we ambushed had a reasonable shield, right? But they still died in 3 swings from the knife without even being able to retaliate, right? And then we died in like a quick burst of gunfire from another person who got the drop on us. Um, it's all, it feels balanced. The difficulty runs into or the difficulty arises when you get the drop on somebody who has like a blue shield and is able to defend themselves. Then you might find yourself up Fudge Creek. You may have made a mistake. But usually whoever pulls the trigger first wins the engagement. Right? The time to kill is extremely low. But sometimes it can be kind of high. Sometimes it can be critically high. Huh. You can just blow up a telephone exchange. Alarming. Anyway, let's wrap up the stream, shall we? My thoughts on cold calling, really, really an innovative way of examining the Cold War, or one particular crisis point during the Cold War. I enjoyed the art style. I enjoyed the just a way of examining, events being a cog in a machine and not necessarily seeing the conversations. Although we did see we did have cutscenes, right? Kind of where you would see people talking. Most of the time it was just metadata, right? You would see the president talking to the chairman, who would then want to talk to the Secretary of State, who was then talking to like Chairman Mao, who needed to be put in touch with the vice president, right? Or a diplomat. And it was interesting to see those chains go back and forth. There's implicit storytelling in there that is not necessarily covered by the events depicted in the cinematics. Wow. Cool. But a little stressful for me. It's just not quite the style of game I gel with, but I can see it. I can see it and I appreciate it. And much like pizza at a Chinese food buffet, it's there for somebody. Not quite my not what I paid to get in the door for, though. That doesn't mean it's bad. Awfully close though. Maybe it's more like, I don't know. Mm, not pizza at a Chinese buffet, but maybe like something small and noodly that you could also eat with chopsticks. Discreet, small fried objects. You know what I'm getting at? It wasn't actually that far off what I wanted. It's just when you get into the moment of gaming, sometimes it's not what you're vibing with that day. Yeah, like the buns, like the baked buns at a Chinese buffet where you're like, yeah, all right, I could go for some bread in addition to this. Yeah, garlic bread. Why is there garlic bread at a Chinese buffet? Why shouldn't there be? Dear God, man. It's to tide you over. All right. Thank you so much for joining me here this week. Corey should be back next week, I think. And then we will be back to talking about more Marathon later in the month. Toodles.